Okay, this video is a tutorial going over all of the things that Republic students are going to do in the first week of their computer programming class once they've gotten on computers. There's a great link in the description that shows you how to get an account set up. We're sort of picking up assuming that you've already made an account and you're logged in and you're ready to start having fun. This area over here is called the canvas. This is where all of the action takes place with the program that we're creating. This area down here is where all of our different sprites will be saved. And a sprite is just like an object on the screen. And then this area over here is where we're going to drag all of our code. Now, each one of these blocks of code represents like a line of code. And instead of just having to type the line, it sort of does that for you by having this block already written out. Scratch is not any less of a programming interface than typing things out. It's just different. So Scratch also names their blocks really clearly. So the first thing that I want to do in Scratch is I want to make my cat move. And so you can probably guess we're going to use the move block. Now if I click on this block, we can see that the cat is in fact moving. Now it's not moving very far, so I'm finding myself, just like you probably are, clicking on it over and over again. Well, good news, computers are awesome at doing the same thing over and over again. So we're going to come over here to Control. And we're going to grab a block that's literally going to say, do the same thing over and over again, in this case, forever. And you may notice that there's like some that could say, just do it 10 times, or maybe do it until some other event happens. But right now, we're just going to deal with forever. So I'm going to drag my move block inside of here, and you can see the white bar appearing. That means it's going to snap in place. Now when I click on forever, suddenly my cat runs forever. The problem is the canvas does not go on forever. Now I can drag my cat back out, but this is still kind of anticlimactic. What I really want to do is I want to have the cat bounce back and forth. So I'm going to come back to motion, and I'm going to scroll down a little, and I'm going to get this block that says if on edge, bounce. And just like you might expect, suddenly our cat is bouncing back and forth. Now this is a good time to show that a user, I can hit stop real quickly and go to see project page. And this is what somebody else will see when they look at my project. They obviously can't just see my code. But notice they have no way of making the cat move because they can't click the blocks. So what we're going to do, this green flag is available to anybody looking at our program. So I'm going to come over here to Event, and I'm going to get this block that says when the green flag is clicked. And this way, instead of me clicking on the code, I can just click the green flag. And now we're getting there, except for there's this problem. I don't really like how the cat flips upside down. And what's really going on under the hood there is that when it quote-unquote bounces, it's actually just rotating the image 180 degrees or flipping it upside down. So I'm going to tell it to rotate differently. I'm going to come back to motion, and you'll see that there's this block that says set rotation style. Now I could put that in the code and run it, and it will work just fine. However, there's a better way to do this. Once the rotation style has been set, it's going to stay that way. So I don't need to keep setting the rotation style over and over again. And actually what's happening is I'm wasting resources, like I'm slowing my computer down by doing unnecessary things over and over again. So instead, I'm going to put it above the forever block. And I'm going to say as soon as the green flag is clicked, make sure the rotation style is set to left and right, and then it doesn't have to do that anymore. And you can see that that clearly still works. So we've now actually built our first like legitimate running computer program. Our cat is moving back and forth. Below this video, you're going to find some challenges that encourage you to try and figure out how to accomplish certain tasks. Before I let you loose on those challenges, I do want to just show you a couple of the other blocks that you're going to be able to use in those challenges. First of all, so far we've really been dealing with motion. Now notice the cat picks up wherever it left off. So if I stop with the cat over here, when I hit go again, it's just going to start where it stopped. Well, what if I want my cat to start in the same place every time? At the beginning of a game, you typically want things to start somewhere at the beginning of an animation. So once again, I don't need to put this in the forever loop. As a matter of fact, if I drag this go to and I put it in the forever block, then it's going to move 10 steps forward and then snap back to that original place. So the cat will not ever actually look like it's moving. Once again, I need to put it above the forever block. And you'll notice that we're actually going to wind up with a couple of blocks directly under this. This code is called reset code because it's the code that gets executed once at the very beginning of our program. So no matter what, go to this place and then move and bounce. So notice I'll stop it over here to the right. When I hit the green flag again, suddenly we pick up where we told it to go to. The canvas is like a coordinate plane, and the center is 0, 0. So if I set the x value to 0 and the y value to 0, then it's going to start off in the center of the screen every time. Aside from motion, there's also some really cool things that I can do with looks. I can make the cat say something. Let's say I want it to say hello. There you go. To remove a block, I simply deattach it and drag it back over to where the menu is, and it will disappear. And then I can reconnect my blocks. Lastly, I want to point out that notice the background is kind of boring and just this plain white. Over here are my backdrops. And you'll see I can choose a backdrop that they've made, or I can make my own, or I can even upload my own file or take a picture with my webcam. I'm going to pick one from their library, and I'm just going to say, let's do this against a brick wall. So now suddenly our program really comes to life by putting this backdrop there. And in one of the challenges, it's going to ask you to change the backdrop. So there's a couple of other blocks that the challenges will ask you to do. I want you to dig through and see if you can find them. I think that you're going to be really successful with that. Go through if you have any questions. There's a section for comments down below. And that wraps up our first week of tutorials for Republic Charter Schools. Thank you.